So I'm Marty Sakata. I started this group many years ago. So I worked with a lot of different banking firms, Goldman Sachs, UBS, Deutsche Bank, JP Morgan, many hedge funds and venture capital firms. So we've run more than 400 events, 200 dinner parties, several thousand family offices have attended our events, and actually some family offices attended 60 or 70 times. I mean, for example, we had an event in Miami back in November, and we've probably had 5 or 6 family offices that have been to 60 events with us, maybe 30 or 40 dinner parties. Tonight, we're not just going to have, we're going to have like 50 or 60 family event people at our dinner party. We'll have like 40 plus family offices, and some family offices are coming like out of the cold who haven't been with us in years because they moved to other countries, they're back, you know, et cetera, et cetera. Same thing. They moved to Florida, they moved back from Florida, et cetera. So when we started the group, what we were really looking for is, so I used to run, I was part of a group that ran marketing for the Wharton Alumni Association in New York City. It wasn't very good because it always got derailed by, you know, people who didn't have the best intentions or were not really thinking about the grandness of how great a group it could be. So we started as a group to kind of replace it because it was people who wanted to think big, do big things. We really focused at that time on hedge funds and family offices, and it grew very quickly. So anyway, so we typically average around 300 to 400 people per event. Like in Miami, we had about 200 people over 2 days and about 500 in total of the online audience. Today, we've got about 450 people registered. So we'll probably have about 100 coming in the door today. We're overflow in the main room. We've got 2 other rooms where TVs are running and people can watch the conference and meet and discuss things. So you know, original target for today was about 300 people, so we overshot it by a good amount. Let me see what else is going on here. I wanted to introduce our host from Polsinelli, Peter Thurlow, and Peter can tell us about his practice, what he does, and the many great things that are going on in his space. So, Peter.
Good morning, everyone, and thanks, Marty. Marty has said at the beginning of his speech that I think he's done this speech 100 times. I've only done it 4 or 5 because I think this is the fourth meeting we're hosting for Marty in New York, and I actually went to his Miami event as well, and I mentioned to the guys as I was talking, I think Marty is one of the best at this, been doing it a long time, and always brings together a great group of people. A lot of friendly faces around the table, John, Blake, Matt, others, and John also. So it's nice to see everyone today. Some new friendly faces, and Heather, Carrie, and Joe. But Polsinelli, we are an active law firm coming up on 1,000 attorneys, 22 U.S. offices. The main office is in Kansas City. I've been here 7 years. I can't believe how fast time goes. My main work is intellectual property and patents. That's my main career. Started as an engineer in New York, and then got into patent law. I got into the family office space because I was telling the guys that years ago when I started working with startups, every company, small and medium size, needed capital. So I started hosting meetings for family offices, and we'd be doing kind of like a Shark Tank thing where we would bring investors to startups and startups to investors. Now I'm on both sides of the deals, representing both sides. And a typical client for me, we have 2 clients, new clients, to give you an example, where they raised $40 million. They're going to be buying a bunch of IP from University of New York. We will handle the IP, of course, but we'll also handle the corporate work, the VC work, any other work that comes out of it. Another deal, some good senior people involved. They raised $160 million. So they're going to be doing some things in the vertical farming space. So we'll handle all the work. We have another deal that Dr. Ling, I hope you guys hope guys and ladies too, get the chance. He's coming later today. He's been on 60 Minutes. We represent him. Company, a lot of stuff going on in generic drug space, on-demand pharmaceuticals. Like I mentioned, he's been on 60 Minutes a few times, worked at the Office of the White House Science and Technology at DARPA. So hopefully everyone gets a chance to say hello to him and meets him. This will be the second time that DARPA will be here. They're coming tomorrow morning. They enjoyed meeting Marty in the first meeting so much, they asked to come back. They even bring in a group. It's all about capital as I look at this meeting and the flow of capital. They're bringing a gentleman from the Office of Strategic Capital, which is a new group that's going to be providing non-diluted funding to startups and other companies. It's new, but I compare it to the NIH, DARPA, National Science Foundation, where they're going to be providing non-diluted funding to companies to get off the ground. The whole idea is we bring chip technology, now that the technology is back to the United States, is when we work with the government, there's just a need for capital. So I don't know the parameters, but I think that'll be one of the better parts of tomorrow. But hopefully I get the chance to speak to you, all of you more today. One quick thing on intellectual property. We did a study years ago with Congress. It was worth $5 trillion to the U.S. economy for U.S. companies. So you may have heard about the all the DNA IP around that and the development of that. That's billions of dollars. Recently there's so many podcasts, but I listened to the Wall Street Journal podcast they had a podcast on the Humira drug by AbbVie. Just to give you an idea, last year they made $21 billion just from that drug alone. And this year they projected the patents just expired. So now they're expecting this year to go from 21 billion to 12 billion, a lot more competition. 8, what we call biosimilars, are going to be coming into the market. So as you consider you're investing, especially for biotech companies and other things, you need to look at their IP and the patents, because that's the latest example of just the value of IP to those types of companies. So again, look forward to meeting and speaking to all of you today. And thanks again to Marty for organizing this event.
Fantastic. And Pete, again, thanks so much. So when it comes to IP, we actually have a guy named Robert Coate from Cody Capital who's going to be speaking today at 11 on alternative strategies. He's running a kind of IP oriented fund, although it has a lot to do with litigation finance as well. So it's very intelligent and smart. And then there's also there's a Wharton guy out of Boston who's running a IP fund as well. There's a lot of activity in that space. And we used to do a lot of work with Eric Spangenberg, who was notorious IP guy back in the day, front page of the Wall Street Journal, et cetera. It's fascinating where that world is going. So, but I just want to make it in addition to that. So it's a family office group is a great group, but the reality is a lot of us have been together for years. We actually know each other's kids from when they were little, and now they're adults working out in the world, et cetera. I mean, it's fascinating how we know each other. So
just on that point, Eric Spangenberg is a friend. We got a couple deals going on together. We got 3 separate deals on the patent side where using them actually the patent as the collateral for patent financing. 2 $20 million deals, 1 $200+ million deal related to graphene, large graphene patent portfolio for battery technology. So anybody that's in the battery space realizes that's a high value IP, but people like that will work with Eric. We'll send them the deals to monetize the IP.
So Eric's an interesting guy because he started a crypto-based way of distributing media. And so talk about a small world. The guy who's now the president of the group is a guy named Bradley Rotter. And Bradley Rotter runs, everybody knows him. He used to run the Quantum Center for US government. He's a big crypto guy. He gave his first crypto speech at our group down in Newport Beach, probably in 2013, 2014.
Yeah.
So, and he's actually been very successful in crypto. He's a hedge fund guy before that, et cetera. So before I go on any further, we have our full schedule. So I'll just go through the schedule. We're going to be in Austin, Texas by South by Southwest, March 13th and 14th. And so we're going to be over at Jackson Walker. That's always a great event and great time. And we're going to be back in New York on April 18th and 19th. Tim Draper is going to be speaking there. So we're going to be at a different law firm in Midtown. So we'll have Tim Draper and a host of other great speakers. We're in LA on the 26th and 27th. We're back with Buchalter, who we've been working with for many years. And June 6th and 7th we'll be in San Francisco, and we'll be back here June 27th and 28th. So just some other news. We are working with a Silicon Valley family office that also runs substantial venture capital funds. They're running an event in Silicon Valley in early March with family offices on how to get involved in direct deals, et cetera, et cetera. One of the crucibles of our group has been that it's very difficult for people, family offices based in the East Coast to get involved on West Coast early stage deals. Many of us are locked out of it. And so we're always trying to get more information about how to participate in that kind of stuff. So really looking forward to today. I've got Alfonso, and I'm not going to try to pronounce it. Okay, I'm going to try to pronounce it. Pecatelio, who's going to be speaking. Alfonso, you're from Italy, or you live in the Netherlands? But are you from Italy originally?
I am originally from Italy, happen to live in the Netherlands because of my previous job running money here. But I'm Italian, really Italian, and my accent, I think, says it.
On his thing? Is that a real?
Fantastic.
That's a real dog? Is that a real dog, Alfonso?
Yes, that's my dog. Hey, she's even looking at you. Look at her.
Now she's looking at you.
Yeah, she's looking at you. You called her, huh?
Don't bark at me.
Fantastic. So Alfonso runs a fascinating group called the Macro Compass Group, and we brought him here to talk about what's the macro outlook